Well, it actually feels like an age since I've last done an update, although in reality it's not, given the Japan trip, the amount of videos and everything we pumped out after that. Since then, I think we got a couple out before Christmas, didn't we? But since everything got back to normal work-wise, my God, operations-wise, it's been absolutely full-on. I mean absolutely full-on. Enjoyable full-on, mind. Absolutely not complaining, never will do. But yeah, I thought I'd take this opportunity, seeing as though it's a Saturday morning, sun is actually out, but it is absolutely Baltic. Yeah, just to update you on a few things. I've got 4 fish to select out, 2 of my special NND DKs, and I'm going to do 2 Sakamaki Ginrin Go Sankey, which are actually going to be hosted in an auction on the Ricky Stoddart Nishikigoi WhatsApp channel this evening, 7 PM I think it'll be. So if you're not in there, there is a link in that description. Other than that, I'm going to share today, I've finally, after all this time, decided what I'm going to do with that space out there, and we're getting everything scheduled to complete it at the end of this month, with the fact that the shipment's coming as well, so no pressure at all. Yeah, and other than that, there's not too much more to really share here at the moment. It's more stuff going on behind the scenes, which is the non-stop, the business day-to-day kind of stuff in general. But I will share these 4 fish with you in a moment. We'll have a look at them. Oh, that's it actually. I'll let you see a selection that's coming up, which is going to be a good video. So this 3.5k pond here, and I have been playing, it's like a game of chess I've been playing against myself, figuring pond space out. So this one, as you can see, plenty of bangers in there. And I mean, the bigger fish you can see are an average now of around 48 to 50 cm as Nisai, so I'm really happy with that. And then I've got this one over here. Water is heavily stained in here. This Nisai lot, I mean, they're absolutely packing, and the quality in here is bonkers. These are probably hitting sort of 55 on average now. Some are at 60 already. So I need pond space. I can't carry on growing everything. Growing these big Nisai is fun for me, but right now I've got to start getting my business brain on, which I don't like doing, let me add. But I need to make a pond in here because the main priority is the other greenhouse I'll show you in a minute. I've got to get pretty much every pond in there empty for incoming new season stuff, which is going to be, that's going to be used in conjunction with the new ponds we'll get on heat, which I'm going to share with you. So it's this fish house that I pretty much need to get emptied. Now what I'm going to do, because it's fish I'm not just prepared to put into sales ponds yet even. I've got my Sakamaki collection in here. Got my absolute obsession Otsuka Sagi collection in here. They're nuts now, they're like 35 to 40 cm. In here I've got a collection of fish from Koda and a few customer grow-ons as well from different breeders. That's full of super pieces. That's now empty, waiting, cleaning out. Got the NND new season Tosai. We've got Tanchos, them really big Tosai Kohaku, and their fantastic Yamabuki Ogans. That's already been cleaned out and done now and is empty. We have got the Utsuri, Shinoda Utsuri grow out. So at the end of the month, these will have concluded their growing period. Absolutely smashing it as well, look, I might add. So they'll be getting moved out anyway. But that side, and there's this pond's crackers. Look how Shiro Utsuri and Ginrin Shiro Utsuri Nisai. So the average sort of size of all that I've shown you is kind of like 35 to 40 cm. Some a bit bigger. So that Shiro pond, that Koda pond, that Asagi pond, and that Sakamaki pond. The plan will be, I'll get all those up. There will be a selection. There won't be many pieces come out of there, but that will form one collection in that very pond there that I've just shown you. In here. So there'll be a few smaller fish added in here recently that will stay. stay put in there. But what I've also got to do prior to that, like I say, is the selection of those 2 ponds, where a horde of bigger Nisai will then be put into an outside pond, photographed up for sale, and it'll leave me with a collection of my absolute top and biggest Nisai to carry on going a little bit longer in that pond. If you saw how I got all that sketched out as well, I've committed it to memory now, but it was basically, it looked like a fag packet calculation, working all that out. But that's just the logistics of running a farm like this. I have to think about, it's not just a case of throwing stuff anywhere. I've got to think about how I maintain that stock, how I look after it. The level of all these fish I've spoke about is so high, I want to keep them looking their absolute best. Now sometimes when they move to outside ponds, instantly I've got to reduce that feeding, and it doesn't allow me to do what I can do in that pond. Plus there's still fish I want to carry on growing, so I hit a certain size specification that's kind of like more expected for the quality level of the fish. Hence why I want to try and keep them in a growing pond, so I can use the 3.5k ponds at quite a high stocking level. Realistically, I think it's going to be around 150 fish. It's going to be high, but I have also got 4 new showers to finish that greenhouse coming very soon, which is going to allow me to push that a bit harder as well, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's just balancing it all up, and obviously making sure I need to keep the size classes together, all different things like that, what diets they're going to go on, how those fish will be cared for when they're outside, all spinning around making decisions. It's not just a case of throwing fish anywhere, and I don't want to move fish for the sake of it either. Hence why I've gone with, let's get this greenhouse I'm in right now cleared down as much as possible. By the time it's done, it'll just be these NND fish split over 2 ponds in here, and there's also a crazy pond here. I'll pull the covers back and share with you that they're going to get moved into my main pond in there. I think you might recognise a few fish in this pond, to be fair. All NND stuff from the last shipment. You've got Nisai of customers that I'm overwintering, and the bigger fish, the Sankies, are clients. So when that's ready to move, that'll go to his pond. And the rest, as I say, well, the bigger fish will go into my main growing pond in there, which is also due to have a few fish out. But they're looking fantastic. It's another dreamy collection in here for sure. Many of which I just can't wait to continue progressing and growing next summer. Especially the likes of that Showa, that Kohaku, the slightly younger ones. Dreamy prospects. So now on to the new developments and a bit of a chat about that. In here, this area, it all feels very locked down for winter at the minute. We've had to put loads of kind of temporary insulation up just to try and trap some heat in, because as cold as it's been, the boiler has been struggling. I think we need to look at that in regards to buying a pump speed, because of the amount it's heating and the speed at what we've got to get hot water through it. But that's going to go hand in hand with these next stages. But as you can see there, the reason that's been put over that door is because there's a very hungry heron kicking around, which very rarely do you see him come under cover, for one, but it's been sat there trying to get through that. Look, I caught it yesterday morning. I was absolutely shocked. But that pond I've shown you, yeah, thankfully no harm has been caused, by the way. But this is primarily about 70-80% of the fish in here are sold, overwintering. There's a few more that aren't, that we're working through, and my collection of shunkus is actually living in here at the minute as well. They are all doing really well. The water's really warm, a lot of food going in there as well, keeping them in top condition. It's going to be a lot of very happy customers receiving their fish in spring, that's for sure. So onto this area, not one that you get to see a lot on these videos, because it's really is kind of underutilized, so to speak. This greenhouse, so you can see behind there, that's the greenhouse that I dismantled that was identical to this one, and that's just been sat like that ever since. And I have these 11 ponds here that are roughly about 1,000 gallons each, that we primarily use as outdoor ponds in the summer. Now, there's fish in there at the minute as well, absolutely freezing the bollocks off. But yeah, it was hard. The plan was originally to get these two stripped down and then to put two new wider greenhouses up, because of the amount of extra space we had just by branching out, cutting the hedge back a bit as we've done, putting the fencing in. You can just round there, look, see all that extra space. So that was the plan. But right now I'm looking at these ponds and we're going to put heating on these, because as you can see, like that, absolutely brutal. They're not the most useful to me. Pretty much 6 months of the year they're completely useless to me, in fact. With what we can do, I can't move stock out the greenhouses now, it's impractical. So what we was going to do is put a building, this is what all this wall and post was for, building over that and just heat those and do that. But looking at it all, it seemed a bit pointless. The cost of the building, and this is something that has to be managed. It's not an endless pot. The amount of different projects we've got on and what we're trying to do at the minute, it just feels like you've got to make every decision absolutely spot on, and that's why I've sat and antagonized this for a while. So the plan now is this is going to get taken down very, very soon. The ponds in there and everything's going to get moved away, and we're going to actually put the fencing over there, is being done next week. And then the plan's going to be kind of, it's not the permanent solution right now, but the priority is to get these heated, because I need these for incoming shipments and I need them warm. So we're actually going to put a massive greenhouse. I can't wait for it, to be honest. The same size as this one here. So it's going to be 100 foot long by 30 foot wide, up and over the entire space you can see here, over to the fence. And that, for now, then the plumbers are going to come in and put all these on heat, and that's going to get that part of the system done. And for now it just ticks a box. We're going to move on to something else, which I'm going to share with you on the next video, which is then where resources are going to go to, and we need to tick that box off. But yeah, this that's the plan with that, and all to be done by the end of the month anyway. Now, that is something, again, you know, I don't often go into business side of things too much, but I wouldn't want anybody out there thinking this is all just a breeze and there's an infinite pot of cash just sat there to do all this stuff. Every decision's got to be thought about. This time of year especially, you know, koi is a cash business. The cash flow intensity, buying the volumes and levels of stock that I do in order to do it the way I do it, really is phenomenal. And it's a stressful time of year, because you're balancing stock in Japan dries up so quickly. It's remarkable. And not only, you know, you've got the cash perspective of it, but then the space logistics as well. And I have got vast amounts of space, yes, but like you see there, 11 ponds, completely useless to me now this time of year when I need them the most. So with all the different projects we've got on and stuff we want to achieve, I really have got to choose every penny, choose it wisely, keep it all going. It's hungry, it's a beast. You know, we look at personnel at the moment, and it's clear that we need people in a couple of positions, but then that's yet further pressure on it all. Building and growing a business and all that side of it, yeah, to be honest, I find it quite tedious at times. You probably gathered I just like to be left in my fish house, but that is what it is. That's the stuff we have to do. It's when work does really become work for me, and it's all there and needs dealing with. But like I say, in these instances, this right now is the priority project here. We need it desperately. And then the next big, which is going to be an infrastructure project, like I say, I'm going to share with you in a video quite soon, which I'm sure you'll love it when we get to that one. And then yeah, in the meantime, like I say, showers, they're coming in to finish the 4 big ponds to give us that capacity in there. And then everywhere else you turn, generally, you know, there's something, it's a big site, you turn around and something's breaking. We've had a couple of air pumps go down that need replacing. Got fucking drum filters, again, 2 motors absolutely fucked. And that there, and every time it's a big bill, not a lot of fun.
just everything. And this is why often and again when you see me stressing and speaking about equipment, it's when you multiply stuff up on the scale that I'm using it in the environment that it's being used. You do test things, you know. I don't just have 1 or 2 air pumps. I've got absolutely shitloads of them everywhere and things like that. So yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. But enough of all that serious talk. I need to get some fish selected out for this auction, so let's have a look. Before I get into that though, I'll tell you another thing that doesn't help, and I just wish they'd stop. Sakai and Dainichi auctions. Fuck's sake. That last Sakai, I think I've mentioned it already, was nuts. And it's just been the Dainichi one. I'd say that was equally as nuts, really. But managed to get a few nice pieces, including one of them varieties that I did pretty much introduce to this market that I absolutely love. But they were an absolute behemoth battle, let me tell you. So yeah, anyway, now I'm going to pick these up, and I'm not going to give it all away because that's, to me, it's too much of a trade secret. But the pictures, I'm going to show you the equipment more than anything, not the techniques, but I'm going to show you the equipment necessary to do this properly, which might help you get a little bit further along if it's something you're looking to do or improve upon.
And actually, before I get into that, there's I just want to share this with you because, again, I don't want any illusions that everything is just plain sailing. There's huge amounts of work has to go in here to keep everything looking in the condition that it generally is. And sometimes shit goes wrong, just as it will for you guys. So this, obviously, my main pond is much reduced in its stocking now. Drum filter screens are absolutely knackered on that. So it is running, but I've actually reduced the temperature right down and stopped feeding completely in here at the moment, so I don't want all the shit just bypassing into the fluid bed. But the main thing, I've got this absolutely stunning big Karashigoi over there, and she's come down with some really random condition. I don't know if it's some kind of septicemia inside, issues like that, but it's basically just attacked a couple of fins. Really attacked this pec fin that you can see, and the dorsal fin, and a pelvic fin underneath. No skin's been broken, and I wouldn't say there's actually infection. There's certainly no bacterial problem per se in the pond. Everything's absolutely immaculate. It's very strange. We've been trying to kind of treat it medicinally, using some salt baths, a bit of topical treatment. It even reacts very well when I PP the pond, which I did recently as well. However, I know it's not enough and it needs help in a case like that, and it's to the point now where we clearly need antibiotics. So I've had Brian here at London Aquatic Vet do some diagnosis work for me, or a bit of general work to get some antibiotics, and yesterday that had its first shot of Baytril, which we're hoping is the right path for that one. Fingers crossed. 5 shots it's going to have every other day, but that just brings me on to the point of this around dosages, because again, there's another client I'm working with at the moment to help get over a bacterial problem, and dosage is so important in this, and I've seen this so many times over the years as well. She's actually really responded well to that yesterday as well. Yeah, dosages. So that fish was weighed, and this is so important. If you are at the point of using antibiotics, or you have to, you must weigh the fish to get the dosage accurate, because otherwise you are literally just pissing in the wind. And giving them weak doses of antibiotics is the worst thing you can do, because it's going to build resistance but not actually kill the problem. And that's what you've got to be mindful of with antibiotic usage in general. It should always be a last case resort. So yeah, with that one, weighed it, 9 kilos she come in at. So there's been 5 mil, a fucking behemoth of a syringe sunk into that one. I can't pronounce it properly, but intraperitoneally. So it's gone into the abdomen, that as well, because of the volume of liquid as well. But fingers crossed, and I do believe we will get that patched up. You can see the fin a bit more there now. It is in a bit of a state, and we'll see where it actually gets by the end of it. But yeah, the big takeaway from that, guys, if you are using them, please weigh them, get it accurate and get the dosage right. And this dosage thing I am going to actually come round to talking about on the live shows when we're back on air with that, because I do believe, again, to reiterate, it's also a problem with medication dosing in ponds as well, potentially. It's so important to get that right to get the end results. But other than that, these guys are looking, guys and girls actually now, absolutely superb. Other than that one, this here is a Sakai male Sansai. That next to it is a Dainichi male Yonsai. Gives you a bit of an indication. Both of them are vast. I mean, we're talking 70s with that, absolutely nuts. Akamatsuba is client's fish that's still in there. But yeah, looking good. So they are having their rest period at the moment. The water is at 18. Tiny. I'm just putting a tiny bit of food in there, look, once a day. And other than that, this is their down period. But as soon as the drum is fixed up, I'd say there's the influx of new fish coming in from that other pond, and they will get back on the grow, because this is the time of season I really like to get the most out of these before it gets too hot. Get that there, Momotaro Kohaku, grown from Tosai. Crazy stuff.
And the final part of that conditioning work with them that I've been doing, a few of them didn't like the temperature coming down from the mid-20s down to 18. Through a bit of mucus, which is perfectly normal. That can happen. It's them adjusting to new environment, new conditions. It can be a stress reaction as well. But yeah, one got a bit heavy, certainly around the cheeks. And to help aid the Karashigoi as well, I've been bringing the salt level up in this pond to 0.6, which is going to be for a couple of weeks. That's 1 ounce per gallon. I've just got the last bit to put in today, and I just want to do this. This part of this video is very intentional, just to show you, because this is an age-old debate that drives me absolutely crazy.
That right there is the rest of the salt that needs to go in. You see, look what tends to happen when you just tip the salt in. Strangely enough, all the fish swim away from it, because they're not particular fans of it either. They know it's a bit intense and they move away. And within no time, that's going to be mixed into solution anyway. It's the way I've always done that. It's the way the breeders in Japan do it. I ain't going to have it any other way. You just need to stop faffing.
So, finally around to it. Selection time. And we'll do a quick critique on these as well. NND DK Shiro. I'm going to jump up on the wall, show you where these are at, because they're really hitting a sweet spot. They've been off the food for a couple of days. In preparation for this as well, to make sure their guts are clear. But yeah, it's a sumi farm at the minute. I'm absolutely loving watching them daily change. It's ridiculous.
So don't forget, there is some staining in the water, but they're really hitting a size now, and it's becoming the dreamy collection of Shiros that I envisaged. But crazy from the little things. I think we're probably around 40 to 45 cm mark now, hopefully more at the 45 cm mark. Looking at them, they just look bigger all the time. But there's a few, I've sold a few out on those auctions. Like I say, I'm going to select a couple more today, but that will include keeping in this pond through till the end of March, so further growing in essence, because that's exactly what these are still doing at the moment. So here's what I've gone for, and going to be completely straight about it, because the quality level, I mean, a lot of the bodies in here are all great. I've gone for pattern, because often it's one of the most important aspects for people who are buying Shiro Utsuri. This is 2 male fish, fantastic bodies, both 40 cm, and they've really shown. This has looked actually really strong throughout. This has had a recent surge of sumi development and starting to look absolutely insane. But the pattern level of those 2 fishes, Shiro Utsuri, is really exciting. Even there between them, you can see difference in body types. This, you can just, it's very, very subtle look, but there's just that extra bit of power sat in that one over that one. But you would say that's got that little bit more on the pattern front and the elegance in that respect. Sumi quality you can't judge. This is just a little bit further in front at the moment, and that one is catching up where you do sort of see it, look.
the quality is excellent. So I think, you know, eventually they'll be on a par with that one. And literally they are both the same size. This is where bone structure, you have to remember, is it's just the end outcome of how that fish will kind of look, and everything will sit, and the kind of volume and weight it can carry. But yeah, fantastic pieces there. So they'll be I'll get them photographed now and list them. Just before I do that, I'll share with you a little bit about the setup, as I promised. So setup wise, here you've got it. We start with preparing fresh water, which is equalized at temperature and dechlorinated as well, run through a dechlorinator, and then I had liquid dechlor again just for an extra touch, but that was prepared in advance. This bowl here has a small amount of anaesthetic in that the fish go in first. It's around 1/4 to 1/2 dose depending on what they need, and then finally the photographing bowl is this one, where it will end up to do the video on the photograph. And equipment wise, here you can see, without a DSLR camera, digital SLR, I use the 18 to 135mm lens on that one, so I've got plenty of zoom. Battery grip just to give it some more clout, and the flash. But without a DSLR and the flash, let me tell you, this is near impossible to get done to any kind of standard. So what I'll do when they're ready and they're not to be doped all the way out, generally they just stop responding to vibration and not as scatty as they would be before they get moved into there to be photographed. And after a few shots and a bit of patience, that's the end outcome. Get that on the computer, crop it and clean it a bit, and voila. Don't know how that's said. Anyway, boom, there we have it. Oh, it's gutted me. Just on with the second one, and as I've got it in the bowl, started questioning if one of the pec fins was the same size, but took a couple of pictures, and it looks like, unfortunately, one of the pecs is a gnat's knacker, smaller than the other one. What a fish, and there right now, raw as it is, I'm pissed off. Another top piece out of that collection that's residual value was just, the arse has just fell out of it completely. So there we go. That's koi, that's raising koi, but I'm going to go and change that one now because yeah, not the day for me to deal with that one right now. So here's the new one I've gone with, and I am going to call it one for the gamblers, and this highlights just another thing you might be curious of. Now, I can't clearly identify the gender of this with complete certainty either way right now. Parts of it are telling me it's female, parts of it are telling me it's male. Therefore, in that case, I always go with unsexed or unknown. Typically, I use the term unsexed because I haven't even bothered to do it. In this case, I'll go with unknown because I cannot be clear about it. And the rest of the part of it, so that's A, one for the gamblers, and then B, the rest of the pattern, I think, is where the gamble comes in, really, because how this is actually going to end up is going to be a curious one. Now, either male or female have got a really, really strong body, but there's been a lot of that sumi progress there just recently, and in this area here, I can see a lot of blue under the skin. Now, there's no guarantees with that whatsoever, hence it's one for the gamblers, but the head pattern is looking superb, that is for sure, and what sumi is up is of the quality we want to see. It's just what's going to happen with the rest of it. So again, we'll put a start bid on that also kind of matches the risk in it as well, and this is kind of one of those fish I've spoke about, a potential outlier where you might pick it up for a tidy sum and end up with an absolute banger at the end of it. But I think the head pattern alone, that memoire, will certainly make it popular. And finally, time for two pieces of Sakamaki Ginrin. One is a superb Ginrin Kohaku, and then a Ginrin Showa that I think's equally as banging myself. Let me catch them up and show you, because I think these are going to be popular. So there we have it. One Ginrin Kohaku, one Ginrin Showa. I think that Ginrin Showa might steal the limelight.
But don't dismiss that Ginrin Kohaku. This is a fish I've watched really come from behind as well, growth wise, to level up, which has been impressive. That Ginrin Showa as well. And there's so much Benny pigment in here. A couple of areas of the fish been affected by the lack of light at the moment, which I'm not concerned about, as I can see how much pigment is loaded up in there. But this, my days, look at that sumi. Like there's no end to the depth. Really quirky head pattern to match it. It's just absolutely stunning. So that's those two. Get them photographed now, and yeah, that's pretty much going to be me done for today.
So just before I wrap up and let you go, I thought I'd just share a little look into the Asagi pond. I'll try and find the video they were last featured in and pop a link up. The progress has been stunning. So they're in one of the 1200 gallon ponds. I can't quite believe what's in front of me. It is a bit of a mixed size bag, but it always was. They're just such an underrated variety, I think, and there's still, even despite all the videos I've done, even I think a lack of understanding about how to truly pick these and what to look for. But the Otsuka lineage for these, I think, is the best pound for pound Asagi line. It's because of this Mombei. The Mombei is the name of the bloodline, by the way. Face characteristic, Otofuku face, which is this fat cheek style, as it's known, is just outrageous, and you don't necessarily see it straight away in these. Just as with more size and age comes, you get it. And I mean, these are just banging. So I'll show you these, and then I've got one proper unique thing in here to share with you.
So the Benny's been developing really nicely, but you can even see here, look, different styles. Two traditional Asagi style, and this sort of Kawari style, as it's becoming known, where you get the quirky, more informal patterns. But we're at 33 cm there and 40 cm here, and you can actually really start to see the face on that one, just as I've described. And you really can on that one. Look, face looks a little bit shorter, and that can be part of that characteristic. But the Benny, I mean, that as a piece is just top draw. Look, the quality of the pigment coming, it's nowhere near at its best yet either. Superb. This is really doing the business. I've always said you need to select them as pale as possible. This really was. It's really started developing in the back now, and it's got colour absolutely starting to fly up everywhere. And then again, the style of that, look, superb quality in the back, and look at that pigment level starting to develop. So I'm really happy with those, and yeah, we'll see what's in the pond when they get harvested next week and moved. But it was such a joy to finally get a batch of these, you know, on their own after all the years I've wanted them to have a play around with. And I am a bit reluctant to let any go at the minute, I won't lie. So this is seriously going to be a Marmite fish. However, I saw one of these for the first time at Otsuka last autumn as it was posted. And it was already too late because somebody had got their hands on it. This is Deutsche Asagi, and it's got an Aragoke style. Now, some will argue Deutsche Asagi is Shisui. Technically kind of is, but that's not what's actually happening here, because it's the Asagi, full Asagi characteristics look, played out with Deutsch and big scales. I couldn't believe it. When I saw one of these come through in the batch of 300 I had, I was over the moon. And now that it's actually developed and it's doing really well and growing well, I am delighted. I mean, look at the quality of the Benny that's coming up as well. Very exciting for me. You'll be plenty watching it going, what the hell. I love the quirky stuff. It's what really adds another dimension to koi keeping. So let's see how that does moving forwards, but that is one of not many. Pretty cool fish.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my well, half a day really. Been matched, it's nearly been the best part of the day. We'll go half a day session up at the fish farm. I do love a weekend when it's all just nice and quiet up here. So yeah, other than that, last bits to wrap up. I know I spoke about the documentary on the client's pond you'll have seen on the channel. Oh god, I tell you what, I underestimated. I just spat that out as if it was going to be the easiest thing in the world. Like, yeah, let's do a documentary. That's really been pushing me and Aaron. We've invested a lot of hours into it, me and him sat there working over the timeline. It's been quite phenomenal, but we're getting there, and I'm really happy. So stay tuned. I will keep you updated on that, and that is why there's generally a lack of any other videos on the channel other than these journal updates, because we're putting so much into that at the moment, which might end up being a direction we end up taking with these kind of big drops on a less frequent basis. Who knows, because it certainly is chewing some man hours up. Other than that, I can't think of what else to share right now. I hope you've enjoyed that, and yeah, get yourself in the all the description. You've got the Telegram group, the Telegram community. We've actually just yesterday launched a new channel within the group as a marketplace for you guys to be able to pass on or buy, trade, whatever you want to do, any second-hand or surplus equipment that you've got. That seems to have gone down really well, plus the whole vibe in there is fantastic. The air source heat pump part of the channel, I mean, it's just, especially this time of year, it's lit up, and the support in there from fellow community members and experience to share has been quite phenomenal. So you can join that in the link below. Telegram is a completely free app to download if you've not got it. Just another messaging app like WhatsApp, but it's a little bit more advanced for the purpose of the group, really. So there we have it, and I'll hopefully see you in tonight's auction.